from where we left off. So what we're up to is we are going to dig into the brakes. Sorry if the lighting is bad, the sun's bright. Nice day out, pretty toasty. So rear brake and corresponding lever. Alright, what you're going to need for this, your pliers, flathead screwdriver, a socket wrench with, let's see if I can get the camera, 12 mil. And then if the impact may go a little bit quicker, you don't have to. I would strongly suggest not using an impact. So as you can see, it's mounted up tight. It has some movement because I've used it. Yours might not. Yours might be on there tight as a whistle. Who knows? So, and the way that's actually held on there is if you go in here, you look, you see this bolt right here. Sorry about the crazy finger. That's what holds everything together. And then inside here, we have a pin that reaches up into here. So that gives it its base from not spinning. So it won't have, so the torque won't turn the brake away. And this is what holds it in place. So this here is the 12 mil. We got to get this guy out first. So let's see if we can pull that off. I'm going to try video this. Here helps me turn it the right way too, you know. Alright. So now lefty loosey very tight. Okay, now she's broken free. I'm gonna take this 10 or this 12 I mean. I'm gonna break this, get this off here. Yours probably won't be that easy if you haven't taken it apart yet. It might be. Anybody properly lubed it at one point will. There she is. Bolt and lock washer. So now I suggest holding on to this for just a second. We are going to see. Remember how I said this is not pinned? So now we're going to take this. We're going to slide it backwards. It's a little tricky to do with one hand. There, just like that. That's off there. We're going to bring this forward. Down. Alright. So there it is off. You guys caught all that. There's the caliper. Get a little better shot of that. There's the pin I was talking about. See the brake pads in there? See the brake pads are hardly used. Barely touched. So these are the 10mm bolts. Yeah, I have to take these 10mm bolts. Before we do that, there's something we should do to make this job just a little bit easier. As you can see, I've been adjusting this thing, trying to get it to do something, and it has not been wanting to do anything. So I'm going to set this here. I think that should give you guys a decent shot. We are going to back this off onto here. You're going to want to back this all the way down. So it includes pulling this rubber boot back if you have to, past that. Alright, put this nut all the way to the top. We're going to run this guy all the way in. Now, this is tricky. If yours is out as far as mine is, sometimes these things like to get cross-threaded, so you got to be really careful. See how that wants, how it's in there so tight. That's why we gotta figure out why this thing doesn't want to work right. So then you just turn this in. So the reason we're doing this, in your view here. The reason we're turning this in all the way, turn this all the way in, it's because we're shortening the length of this cable surface. So this cable that runs all the way to the back, or up to the front, I mean, sorry, we're in the back. It's going to shorten that cable length. When it shortens that cable length, it's going to take the wired cable that's on the inside, and it's going to make that longer, like more. It's going to give it more play, right? Because the reason we want that play is because what we got to do when we get inside of this guy, there's a little tricky thing we got to do. We need as much cable as we can get. So it gets a little tight. That rubber boot is probably really tight on there. Doesn't like to turn. Probably stuck hard. This thing's old as I am. So, alright, see how I got that cable run all the way in? See how we got it ran all the way in? There's no thread showing anymore. Alright, now we're good here. Now we're going to go to the other spot. Alright, so now we're on the back side here. This is brake lever. See? We got the cable back here. So then we're going to take this guy and we're going to run him all the way in. Now that gives us all kinds of play on this cable. That'll give us all kinds of play back here. See my mess there or not, but I'll try to edit that out. If not, then that's what happens on the farm. So now that we got that cable all the way out, hopefully the phone don't overheat here because it's pretty roasting toasty over here. This is where I'm going to use the impact actually. We're going to take this 10 mil. We're going to take these three out. So 1, 2. Oh yeah. Don't lose this bolt. Just go ahead and put it right back where it came from for now. Make sure you always put your bolts back where they came from. If you can. Alright, and then we got number 3. All 3 of those guys are out, so we got 1, 2, 3. I don't lose these guys. I just put them right in the lid. Alright, you can see things have been greased up before. Like I said, I had this part not too long ago. This is where the screwdriver should have come in handy. Now you're gonna need this. Alright, so what we gotta do is we gotta push this back past. There's a metal end on the cable. You have to push it back past that cable. So you gotta get this behind here. Alright. See that guy there? What I like to do to give myself a little bit of help here. Just to push it back with my finger here. And then we gotta get this guy to come out. It's kind of a pain. Not gonna lie, especially because I put it upside down last time like it does now. So you can push this back. Pop that guy out. Back. Alright, 1 second. So what we're going to actually do, just to make life a little bit easier, because I have a lot of slack on there, should be able to just push this back on here really easy. That spring might be a little bit of a pain. Take my pliers. It's good that it's giving me a pain, because then you guys can see what happens when it does. I'm going to pull on this a little bit, just a little bit, not much. Because you see that extra cable that you got there. So now we got that out. So now we take the screwdriver, push this guy, take the pin. Sometimes you gotta wiggle them around a little bit to get them moving. Alright, so you gotta lift it up, push this guy up a little bit. It likes to fight you. You don't want to fight you. You put your thumb there so you can hold it right in line with this, because there's a little slot. You'll see it. See it in the back there? Hopefully you can see it. Alright, push this a little bit. There's a little, give her a little push. Wiggle this around once she gets to where she's happy at. See how that's lining up a little bit better there? Now, we're going to turn this just a little bit while we push. It's a little tricky because what it wants to do is that cable wants to lay straight, right? That's why I was trying to do it the other way first. But, so, oh, there we went. See it. See, now she popped out. So now we can just go like this. And it'll easily pop out the rest of the way. Just go back here. Alright, don't lose your little pin. You need that guy. Make sure you don't get too dirty, or if he does, make sure you clean it. Okay, so now there's the caliper assembly. See the little balls in there? One. That one's covered by grease. And another one. Alright, so now we are going to actually pull this off. And all you gotta do to pull this off, oh yeah, don't forget about this guy too. So you got this guy here, this little ring, he's gonna want to come off. You can just set him on here for now. It doesn't matter which way, because we'll get back to that here in a minute. So we're going to set that back over here. We're going to take our little pin. We're going to put him in the lid. In the lid. See? Pink. He's in there. Alright, now we got to get this guy out. So we're going to push this cable back a little bit. Remember how? Alright, so we got the cable back. Now remember this guy? We used to get the extra cable length. Now we're going to use this guy. We're just going to unscrew him all the way. There it goes. Once that comes off, you got all that. See, cable looks a little gross, but it's not bad. It moves back and forth really easy, no problem. There's a little bit of good if I can do that. I don't know. So maybe we'll grease that up a little bit to see what we get, or send a little bit of stuff on it. But now, alright, so you can see our brake pad goes in through here. See the other brake pads into here, and this is what actually mounts that brake pad, just this little rubber guy right here. Be careful with that guy, because if it rips, I don't know where you get a new one. I don't know if they come with the rebuild kits. I've never really seen them. I'm sure there's other things you could do to hold it in place. In all honesty, even if it didn't, I don't think it would hurt anything, because it's in there so tight inside of this. So, because this pin, or this pad just rides, it just sits in there. And then once you put the rotor in there, it can't go anywhere anyways, unless you burned it way, way, way down. But even so, the pressure is always going to be against it, so it should be okay. You can see, I even got some pretty new brake pads in here, because look at how clean they look. They're not bad. Everything looks good, no rust really. A little bit down in here still, but for the most part, everything's clean. Alright, but we're going to hop into the shop, and then I'm going to show you some of the issues that I think I'm having, and we can go through maybe some of your issues and what could possibly be causing some of your issues. And we'll just go through a couple of different things and we'll see from there. Perfect. Alright, we're back here in the shop now. Sitting on the floor because I didn't even have a good place to do this. Kind of surprised me. So, Here's what we're gonna do. So we got the pad. Yours is gonna not probably be easy to get out because this thing has been pre-greased and everything. So the first thing we're gonna do is very carefully, because you're not trying to mess the pad up, especially if you're trying to keep the pad. They're just sticking, right? Because if it's stuck in there, you gotta be careful. What you gotta do is get it to evenly go back. You need to have even pressure all the way around, otherwise it's gonna keep getting stuck. And I think that's part of the reason I'm having the issue that I'm having. So now that's all the way out. See how easy that popped up for me. I'm gonna set this down here for a minute. Alright. And you'll see this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the whole rubber boot. Okay, see this guy here? Be careful for him. He's the only thing holding the brake pad in place. Mess that guy up, it's gonna be a pain. You push down straight in the center of this. That brake pad will start to work its way up. There we go. Here it drop. Alright, so there's two ways you can do this. Or not two ways. There's one way to do this. It makes you think you can get it out with that, but you can't. You have to go back through the hole. You can see my pads aren't even touching, only in one spot. That crack, yeah, I know. They're bad. They'll be replaced. They should be here tomorrow. But for the time being, we're trying to get this to work, and that's the important part. Alright, so we have this here. So let's take a look and see what the inside looks like. So, see all that little buildup in there? We gotta get rid of that. And I cleaned up a whole mess of that out, but I never got that black part out. See those black lines in there? And that's old rubber, right? So I think what's happening is my O-ring is grabbing onto that black and it's sticking. And it's not allowing it to clean through that surface. I'll get a little closer so you can see it better. You see that black in there? I cleaned it up pretty good. It felt nice and smooth. I couldn't feel it on the surface, but when you really get to looking at it, sorry, I'm trying to work this for the camera here. You see how gross it still looks? I mean, some of that's grease. That's just it. But see that black line? There's a good picture of it. And trying to operate this for you guys is tricky. It's like up is down, down is up, and backwards looking through the camera. You can see that black line really well there. See that? I think that's my problem. Just needs to be cleaned up a little bit more than I did. I wasn't willing to go the extra mile. So, there's the disassembly process. We're getting the pads out. We have this guy. So here's this. So then we're going to give you the breakdown of this and how to run it on. See how mine's still tight here? I think maybe what I did is I made this too tight. Because what's supposed to happen, maybe that's what's part of my problem, is that this thing is supposed to turn and drive that out. Well, the guy's coming out. So when this turns, it drives that out. And then there's pressure applied to the back side of this, and that's all the fire this one will go on. And then you can turn this guy back in. Maybe this is just getting hung up. Maybe this needs to be really greased. Maybe there's some rust in there. I don't know. And then this is all that. You can see how it comes out. This guy right here. So every time your brake comes, it gets pressed. Oops, sorry, I had it move there. So when this rolls back, it locks that. But then it can't. You see what I mean? So this has little teeth on it. And then that goes into your pin. It's inside there. It goes all the way through, and all that's holding that back is these little plastic, these little metal tabs here. Tougher than they look. So, and then you line that up, it drops right in. And then when this turns, it turns this guy. out. And it goes out farther and farther. And the spring presses, so it keeps going. That's when you need new brakes. And then when you gotta put that back, all you do is just turn this guy back down. See, it doesn't want to let me do it. See how it locks it? That's what those little metal tabs do. So you gotta pull the black plastic back a little bit, or you can actually just pull it all the way out. Hold on to it, and you can turn this all the way back in. You don't have to put it all the way in. I like to leave it just a little, like, really loose. And it's easier for it to turn. You just roll this thing around until it drops into place. And boom, boom, there she is. Now you'll see inside of here, there's steel plate, a roller bearing. I don't know if you can really see it that well. And another steel plate. And then inside of there, you have 3 balls that are on a cam. When this pulls, I can't do it with my fingers here because everything's greasy. When this pulls, it makes the, see there, you can kind of see it turn a little bit. It rolls up on top of these balls, and the more that it rolls on top of these balls, and you can see how this already came out a little bit, because when this turns, this plastic piece turns and all this turns, it pushes this out. So it should be pushing it out. Let's see here. Every time. That's so hard to do with my fingers. Here, click. So that's what it should be doing. And then it doesn't let it go back because that's where, like, not all the way. See how it can't go? But then we take the pressure off of it by pulling this guy out. This can turn free. You can turn him back. Or you can do it with this here too. Just be careful. Don't turn that tight. You don't want to tighten that because it wants to be free. So one thing I suggest doing, just one thing we're going to do, break down, is we're going to actually unscrew this guy almost all the way out here. Give him some fresh grease. Just on my fingers, you don't need to put much in there. Just get him nice and good and wet. If he wants to spin a freeze bird. Roll this guy back in. Nice and smooth turning. Now we just kind of technically, in a weird little way, cleaned those threads in there and pushed all the junk to the back side here. So then we're going to take this guy, put him back into place. And that's the only thing that you really got to do, that I have to do. Now what I suggest is, if yours looks like gross as everything, you're going to have to probably take this apart. Now I've never taken this one apart, but there's going to be a whole entire process to it. And I'm not exactly sure on how to get the ball and ramp assembly and everything else apart, because I've never done it. Now, it's probably a clip. I'm not sure. But to get it working, what you can do, if you don't want to take it apart and you're scared, buy a can of brake cleaner, and you can start cleaning all these surfaces, alright? Even if they're rusty, if those little metal balls are rusty, you're probably going to have to replace them. They're just never going to work right if those little metal balls are rusty. So you have to, unfortunately, break it down. Now, I don't have everything to do it, or I'm not even aware of how it comes apart, but I imagine there's a C-clip. I'm trying to find it, see if I can find the C-clip to where these pieces come off. Oh, there. It's probably under there. No, I don't see it. Could be these things themselves. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, so I'm sorry I can't be more helpful on that. I've never taken one of these apart before. I've got a couple skeeters that are coming after me here. I've had other things very similar to it apart. I'm not 100% sure how to clean that up. How to take them apart. I see the spring inside there. No, this might just be like a one-piece assembly too. I'm not. I know the pin comes out, but I'm not sure how everything else comes apart. So I'm sorry about that one. I wish I could give you more information on it. I've never done it before, and I'm not going to start trying to pry into this one any further because it's in pretty good condition. So you've got this guy. See the ear tab on it? That's going to be for when we line everything up, and that's it down into here. That ear tab's going to go into here, just like so. And that's how we're going to line everything up. So, alright. So everything looks like it's supposed to for me, minus the bore of that. And also, one thing I noticed too is that guy right there. I don't know if you can see him. Got a little chunk missing out of him. So if he's going to be a pain in the butt, he could be the part that's grabbing too. So I don't know how that rubber stretched. So there's this guy. Kind of went through a little bit with you. Wish I had some more brake cleaner. I'd clean that out. Put some pressure grease in there. I don't know where all that gross grease came from last time. You can see I got red grease all over everything. I had it all clean. So. Mystery grease coming out of the orifices of the 40-year-old machine. So I'm going to set this all back down into here. Just like it goes. So, see these three tabs? Gonna line those up with that. So that's how it's gonna sit in the end. Just like so. It's gonna drop right in there, sit all nice and flush. See how it sits in there nice and flush. And get everything unadjusted. In the meantime, I'm gonna try something with this O-ring. I don't know if it'll work very well or not, but we're going to give it a shot because I got new pads that'll be here tomorrow. So I have some other O-rings that I have. We're going to try to match up to the thickness of these. It's a thick. Make it easier to stretch. If that's swollen, that's probably. I have one in between. Maybe this one here. That looks pretty close. Look at it through the camera. Alright, let's see if we can even do what I want to do. Lube this guy up real good. I don't know if this will go out there. It's one of those things where do not do what I do, because this is just a replacement one. This O-ring is really hard. I'm thinking that could be part of the problem. Alright, give me 1 second. I gotta grab the pick. Set him down over there and you want to go. Take this guy over here. Okay, that's a hard one. Really? also make silicone in there. Interesting. No wonder I got a layer of silicone in there, and that's grabbing like crazy. I try not to stab myself in the finger, but if I do, I need to get it on camera. There we go. See if we got most of that in there. Clean this up a little in here. I'm going to try. I don't know if it's going to work successfully or not. It's greasy as all get out now, but that's what you need to when you're trying to do this. I'm going to try and stretch this little O-ring over this guy. Like I said, don't do what I do. Oh yeah, I hope so. If this one works, I got another one. I'm sure we can get two out there. No problem. It's just like the other one, but it's a lot softer, and it's full. No bad spots in it. See how it slides through the barrel. See how she slides through the barrel. Yeah. Yeah, we'll try a skater run. So I got quite a few good ones. I don't have to worry about it if I break that one. You just want this to sit in there good. It's not hurt too bad. It's got a little while we got enough, but he didn't get up too bad. I got more too, so I'm trying to get this skinnier one out here. Just to see. Let's get her all lubed up really good with her fingers. Lube her up good. And with the skinnier one, I'll flex right there. But I gotta do this back here because it's tricky. I'd love to do it on camera, but you're all greased up. so slippery. Grease. I don't really clean it off, but there we go. Let's see here. So that's how that one sits in there. It's got a little bit more of a gap, but I'm not too worried about that. That'll take care of itself. It sits in there a little bit different. A little silicone there actually kind of seems to help it out. Let's see how it slides in here. Oh gosh. I like that better. Let's put a nice healthy coating of grease on everything. Cracks in both these pads. Danger, danger, Miller up, danger. Let's put that guy in. I do not recommend using cracked pads. It's dangerous. Dangerous. Let's see, it stops right just in there. Just perfect. Slides right up to there. I bet you that's what that O-ring was just swollen. What do you think? Get it in there like a champ. Not really, just a tiny little bit. I could not even feel it. Just kind of walk a little bit in there now. But it stays. See? This organized. Actually, I did it before or something. See the orientation? Pin. Just a little bit behind this guy. What's that? About the 3 o'clock position. Don't hurt this guy. Oh, it's just dead. And drops right in there. You get everything in there. Looks nice and flush. So now, you take this. I'm just trying to see something here. I can push this into here. Hey, look at that. Our brakes work. I knew that O-ring was funky. I don't even know why I put it back in there. Alright, well now we gotta go put everything back together. So it only took a little bit. I'll see you then. Alright, we're here at the sink. Luckily I don't have a wife or anybody to tell me I can't wash my brake parts at the kitchen sink, you know. This is kind of a nice thing here, so. But yeah, so what we got going on here is we are going to take 1,000 grit, not 100, 1,000. This says 100 because it's cut off, but it's 1,000. And we are going to very carefully go in here. Not saying it too long in anyone's spout with water. And all we're trying to do is get rid of that rubber that's in there. Remember those black lines we were talking about? That's all we're trying to do. Let's take this. The longer the stroke, the better. That way you're not making any spot in there that's oblong or weird or anything. Done watching. Look and see what we got. Looks like we got one more in there. better for me. It makes it all yellow for you guys. Get some stuff there. Looks pretty good. Good there. A little bit of weirdness here. Remember, you're not trying to sand the heck out, you're just trying to get some rubber spots out or any marks that might be in there. If there's scratches in there, it's going to just be a pain for you. Probably going to have to get a new one. You can try scratching and sanding them out, but you're probably not going to. See, like this one has a few that make me worried now that I'm looking at it. I don't want to get the focus here. I'm focused on them. There it goes. See some of the marks. That could be what's causing all this. I'm going to take a little bit closer look. It's making me just watch the water. I can cut that out too. Make sure that that looks as smooth as possible. And I got that line there. It bothers me really bad. That might be half a problem too, but then that's when you can start to that seems to be what's causing the problem, because it got jammed in there is what happened. See that line all the way through there, and that's probably what's catching it. So you might get to witness what you have to do for that, I guess. That just means on this side, go back over here. I think it'll be okay the way it is. Like, I don't feel it. Oh yeah, I do actually. Shoot. Huh. That's where that rubber was catching on everything. Yeah. Get the water out of it quick. Focus, little buddy. So, I think I got most of it on there. I can still feel it a little. A little bit clean. You can see I got most of it out of there. You still see a little line there. It's pretty smooth. So call it good from there. See how this drops into it. Now that we cleaned all that off of there. Now that I put that other over in there. Oh no, that's just, they're so nice. Doesn't move back and forth at all, just drops right in. Like a champ. Alright, well that's that. Alright, now that we got everything dried off, we're back in the machine. Now we're going to put everything back together. Let's get everything started here. First things first, we gotta get the pad in there. So we're gonna put a little bit of grease down here, just a little bit. And the reason I do that is just to make sure that everything goes in and out smooth and we use it over time. Don't build up any rust there is will help with that. It can also harm it a little bit if it sits in a little bit. As long as it has a little bit of air to dry, it should be good to go. And we're also going to link this surface. Flipping everybody off, that's just how the finger worked. We're going to put a little rub in there just because. A little rub across there. Alright. So now we got that all set up. Actually, before we even do pads, let's get this guy started. So remember, if you're having a bunch of trouble with this, you can't seem to figure out why. It's probably because you don't have the cables ran back all the way in the front. This will make it so much easier. See how this has tons of room here. You only gotta pull the spring back that far. Oh, sorry. See how this has tons of room right here. You only gotta pull it back that far to get your clip in there. You gotta make sure you got that cable all stretched out. Put this guy back in here. Now be careful, remember. Make sure this is lined up right. It can be tricky because it wants to sit a certain way. Because of the cable. So it'll jam itself in there all weird. So if it doesn't turn free, we're actually going to do a little dusting. Probably going to hurt nothing at all. A little grease on there. Alright, so like I said, make sure that this thing is seated in the right position when you get this started. It can be tricky. But when you get it, it'll just slide right in, no problem. Easy peasy. You won't bind on you, it won't do nothing. You gotta run this guy all the way in. Sometimes after you get started, it's easier. This thing's pretty rusty. To just hold this with a wrench and turn this. See how I do that? But this one's pretty easy to just grab and turn. So now make sure, like if it seems like it's biting on you, you might have to get just the right angle. You get the right angle, see like if I hold it really tight like this, it's a really hard turn. So if I just turn this a little bit, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Make sure that's all the way back, remember. You want this thing all the way in as far as it can go. That's going in there. We're a couple turns left. It might be going out. No, we got some left. Yeah, he's loose. Gotta come up all the way. There we go. Bob out all the way. So then remember the other trick. Remember, pull this cable. There's the cable pulled all the way. And you have the cables doing really bad. There's the cable pulled all the way. Alright, so now we got that set up there like that. Remember, with the cable stretched out, you should have a nice little bit in there. So this spring isn't hard to pull back. I see a lot of people fighting this, and I think the main reason they fight is because they don't set these things all the way in to shorten the cable length as much as, or to lengthen the cable length. Because when this casing, you're extending it technically, right? So you're making it longer. The longer that casing gets, the more it slides up on the cable, the shorter this cable will get on the outside. Right? So when you run this thing all the way in, it makes it so that the cable on the inside, because that's not going to move, that's going to stay. The only thing that's moving is right here. So, does that make sense to you? Alright, so we got that little bit greased up, we got that little bit greased up. I think we can drop these guys in now. They're still the poop pads, but not a big deal. Like I said, tomorrow I'll be taking it apart again just to change the pads. That's easy though. So now we'll get that guy sitting there. We got our little buddy, little helper buddy. Hold that pad in. You must be a pain in the ass, buddy. There we go. Push it and make sure it's all the way seated. All the way seated in there. See? Now do not use cracked pads like this. That's dangerous. But I'm just doing this to show you guys. I don't have the new pads here. I'm getting everything cleaned up so that when I get the pads, all I do is pop this off, pull it off, pop the pads in, put everything back together. We're good. Super easy job. Alright, here's our other pad with the funky, with the skinny O-ring. See how hard someone was jamming on that thing? 8 into the back of that pad that hard. It's crazy, isn't it? See how nice that dropped right in there? Like a champion. Yeah, turn this a little bit. You gotta go right about there. Alright. Got these good. Give them a little more grease. I want these brakes to be as smooth as possible. Down in there. Also grease these bearings up really well. There's a bunch of grease inside there. And all I did was just crack it open like, see there's grease in there. Crack it open like that, shove a bunch of grease down in there, just close it back up, roll it around. Give her some few spins, some good spins. Through there always. Well, rather than making it drag, man. Extra through there. Alright, now here's where the fun part comes. So here's where it comes, and you're gonna have a headache like crazy. lined up. Gotta get this into it. But when you have everything unadjusted like we were talking about earlier, this isn't that bad. So now we need our little pin. Come here, little pin buddy. Let me see. So there's a couple different ways. You don't have to do inside this. You don't have to do it all. You can do this. So take this back. Sometimes you can even use the metal on here. A little tricky. But you gotta push this. Alright, so there we go. Now we got a little more time left. So now we gotta get this out of here, so we're gonna do this quick. Try to get it. So we gotta slide this spring back. Slide this guy out of here. And drop this pin in. Alright. Then we're gonna take our thumb. We're gonna try and line this up. Just slide it back just a little bit more. We're gonna hold that. Now be careful because we ain't got a good thumbnail there. Might get it here. Just gotta come back a little bit more. Now I can get this to do what I need to do. Just gonna slide back a little bit. Bring this cable over. See the cable underneath there? I don't know if you can see it very well, so that's lined up. Get this to go down over it. He's a fighter. I'm getting attacked by stutters doing the same thing. This might by no means really easy to put back together. It can be a pain in the butt. Once you get it. Like that. See? There's dark enough. Now the rest will do. Now you're going to slide it up. Boom. She's in place. See that lock's already there? She's happy. Alright. So now I'm going to get this thing in here. What we want to do with the guy. No, can't forget our other little buddy, this guy. I'm going to give him a little more grease to the guy by not our fingers. Right? Right. Somewhere to go in here with this guy. He's going to go into his little spot. That little thing goes right into there. Like that. Alright, I'm going to bring him over here. He should drop down into that hole. You might have to reorganize him a little bit, but move that paddle out. You gotta get a skeeter there. So then if that gives you trouble, you might have to turn this pad a little bit. So you need that to line right up with this hole. So you see the pad's not lined up. So let's turn him back a little bit right about there. Wiggle it around a little bit. Give it a little wiggle. Lift it up, it's a little easier. There we go. Okay, see how she's all tight? Everything looks good. Finally got that skeeter. Yeah. So that's how everything's supposed to look. One thing I suggest doing is lifting this hat. Okay. Turning it backwards. We're trying to bring this thing up. Okay, now that we got all this here, everything's at this point, we're going to make sure this is adjusted the way we need it to. So we're going to make sure that it's all the way unadjusted. So we're going to back it up all the way. It'll come to a stop. See how it stopped? Don't want to let me spin it anymore. I'm going to give it a little bit of turn there. We're going to go to about right there, and then we're going to push it straight down. Should have a little spring to it. The spring could blow it. Everything looked good, so now we're all back together as far as mechanical portions. Alright, so now time to put the cap back on. So all we're going to do that, we're just going to drop this on here. Notice I got a little bit of grease in the top of this thing, not very much, just a little bit. And this will sit right tight onto here. Drop these screws in. I'm going to pause this for a moment. I don't have much time left. Okay, now they're in. Tight. All we're going to do is tighten them up. Tightening and tightening and tightening. Once you get too hand tight, you can let go of it. Get this guy tightened up. Oops, scoot over there. See? That's tight. You'll never use power tools. If it's tight up, there is a torque specific to this. I don't know it offhand, so we just go monkey tight. Don't over tighten it. It's aluminum. It just needs to be like a spark plug. Just get her seated and give her a little jerk and call it good. Seated, little jerk. All right. All right. So remember, we put our bolt back where it belongs. We're going to take that bolt back out with the washer. Alright, that goes there. We'll lift this guy up. Carefully get him on there. You might have to play around a little bit with it to get it to sit the way it's supposed to. It should go right in there pretty, no problem. Once he's up there, put it into the pinhole. See the pinhole? When you're right in there. See the top there. Pinhole's in. That hole's lined up. Now we're going to grab this. We're going to feel them and put the bolt in at the same time. A little tricky. Alright. Bolt's in. Alright, now bolt is tight. There's a torque you can find. I might get it into the video for you. Probably get it in there for you. That's how it sits. This will wiggle back and forth. You can see beautifully. See how much space we got? That pad moves right back to where it belongs now. So now we do the adjusting. So let's go back down here. Alright, so now we're going to run this adjuster out. So, not quite all the way out. You can see that on that threads. There's kind of like a little mark where there's rust on there. I'm going to go just a little bit past that mark because that should be about where it was originally set up. Somewhere in there. right about there. That's just going to be temporary. Now we're going to go to the front. Okay, so then the front of this guy. So now this. See how we're pulling the lever? See how the lever has like, it's really sloppy. If you do this. Like do it just to the end of that. Just till it tightens down on. So you're the guinea in the background. So then you run this tight afterwards. Now that's tight, so this doesn't turn anymore. It's a double nut, kind of. But now you should have full pull on the brake. Should be nice and easy. Now we gotta go see. I don't think they're actually working yet, but that's where maybe they are. I don't know. This is where the adjustments start to come into play. Because remember, the shorter the cable, the more the pull. That pad is definitely moving in there. So let me go through this a little bit more and kind of give you a breakdown of the adjustment. Alright, so now that we got the brakes in, see how I have this adjusted on it. It's roughly about halfway out. That's a little bit more than halfway. I'd say about about 2/3 of the way out. And then that's usually where I set the rear brake up. So after I do the rear brake, and I get that set to about 1/3, and then lock this in place with the lock washer, this guy, or the lock nut. This guy here. You guys want to do that, so you'll turn this, and turn this the opposite direction to lock her in place. After that, then we come up here, and so then this you're going to adjust it out. So I have it locked in already because I was driving it. I'll take this off here. So then the way you adjust this one is you see how far. So finger stops right there. Now sometimes you want to give it just a little bit more right there, so that when you pull, you're pulling the brake all the way in, all the way. The thing you gotta check is when you go to the back. So that's been pulled, right? So now we're gonna go back here. Are these brakes riding? Or if they're riding, then you got that just a little bit too tight. Now you probably have to roll this back and forth a little bit here. See, my rotor's all messed up. Not gonna hurt nothing now on this little guy. So you see the gap in there now? So you know you're still good here, so you're there to spin free, right? So it's not gonna be rubbing. You can also do it that way too. You want there to be play. You don't want that brake to rub. But you want it so that when you pull this, the brake engages. So now it's a little tricky to do with one hand here, but maybe we can do it this way. Go. Now it pulls. Let's go. Pretty good. Now the best way to test this is to push it. You can give her a little bit. Back this up a little. Pick the move. So we get her moving. Brakes lock up about halfway. Or start to grab it halfway, I should say. Not lock up, and then lock up all the way when you pull her all the way down. That's what you're looking for. Alright, so that's a good way to adjust the brake. It's going to be a little bit different for each one depending on what your cable length stretched to over time, how old it is, if it's a new cable. Like, there's all kinds of different things. You shouldn't have to adjust this. This already inside the mechanism is all kind of set. So you don't have to even mess with that. You shouldn't even have to go in there at all. It's always this here. So make sure after you're done, you lock this up. And all you do is just turn that tight with your finger. And then I like to try to turn this back a little bit more. Ooh, broke free. Just depends on which way you like the cable. I like to have them on opposite sides. You just crank that sucker down tight with your finger. If you're really worried about it, give her just a teeny little bit with pliers. But finger tight's plenty good. Okay, now we got brakes. All the way around, fully adjusted. Yeah. You know what the next thing is, right? Test drive. But before we can do that though, I got one thing I gotta fix. So you see the giant fuel filter? So you see how the flow comes up this way? Well, what I'm having a problem with is when I hammer it, you get a good 30 seconds, 40 seconds of full blown running, and then it just runs out of gas. So I realized what's happening is this giant fuel filter. I didn't put this on here, it was just on here when I got it, but it works well. But what I need to do is actually have this mounted the other direction so that it fills the fuel filter up and the flow goes down, so that way this stays full all the time. So once that happens, so what I'm gonna have to do is either extend or move or change and swap around these hoses. I'm probably gonna mount it up here onto the box too, just to make everything a little bit easier. So like if you got a full tank of gas, you usually don't have to worry too much about it, because I noticed when I first had about 1.5 gallons in there, it didn't seem like it mattered too much. But as soon as I got below like probably 1 gallon, it started sucking air really bad. So I just don't think that the fuel filter could keep up with, or the fuel pump could keep up with filling this giant fuel filter. But if you flip it upside down and it fills that fuel filter, then it's got to drain this whole thing out. So we'll see how that works. I don't know. One way or the other, yeah, we'll get her squared away. On to the next. Just like that, we got brakes again. So I'd show you, but it's a little hard to videotape, and anyway, you just have to trust me. I'll show you a little video here in a bit, but we got brakes again. So everything we did right there is what you need to do to rebuild the rear brake caliper. Good luck, guys. Hope everything goes well. And if you run into any other issues, it's mostly going to just be a little bit of rust. Be careful, don't take anything extra off, be real cautious. Make sure you get everything clean. And I gotta go deal with that crazy guinea, so you guys have a good night. Take care.
Take care now, and don't forget to like and subscribe.